Hello, hello, Aurelia Davis, coming to you again on August 3rd, third day in August. And very interesting. Usually I get my topics from other individuals, and lately I have been going online myself, saying the latest in educational news. I'll hit Google and see what pops up. And I was going to talk about one particular type topic today, but I think I'll put it off to tomorrow because this particular topic really grabbed me when I saw it. And the title is For College Students Battling Addiction, a Safe Place for Recovery. I'll read it again. I'll say it again. For college students battling addiction, a safe place for recovery. Well, what's happening is that the United States government, when while dealing with a lot of abuse issues within, addiction abuse issues within the last year, especially after the pandemic and opiate deaths and so on and so forth, they have put a really, really heavy push to try to, try to help this particular predicament, help this tragedy. Okay, I'm just gonna call that a tragedy, and it it's not only in our neighborhoods, but they're saying that it's very heavy in colleges. It's very heavy in colleges. So while talking about students going to college for different reasons, and we talked about Scott the other day, I talked about how college is not being pushed as much by a lot of individuals. Parents are not pushing college as much. The opportunity for students to be able to go back into the trade programs, being electricians, contractors, plumbers, so on and so forth. This basically takes them out of the area of for attending college, which is okay. It's okay. But those now we're talking about those individuals that are attending college. And we're talking about the struggles that they are having while attending college. I have a couple of ideas as to what's going on with that. But at the same time, the government is putting safe havens and addiction centers within these universities so that if a young person does get addicted to different things, and we're even talking about alcohol, we're talking about opiates, all of those things that can be very detrimental to their health and to them learning and to them achieving college careers and whatever, they're putting things in place so that these students can get the necessary help they need while attending a university. I think back on my me approaching and trying to go to school. First of all, I knew I did not want to go away to school. I had never been away from home before, so that particular notion was out of my head. I know if I attended college, I was going to attend the college within the city where I lived. And that made it easier for me because I don't know if I was even mature enough to go away to school at the time. And plus, the finances that would have had to be in place in order for me to go to school out of the state. And so I attended school within the where I live, which is Chicago, and my sister also attended school. By the time my baby sister got ready to go off to college, she attended college in Xavier. She went to Xavier University to become a pharmacist, and she stayed away and then never did really come back home. Well, she did get married, so forth. But her, I have not talked to her lately, but I might reach out to her within the next couple of days to see exactly what her college experience was. Was it stressful? Um, I've heard that individuals that go off to school, they have a tendency of you know uh, experience a lot of anxiety. It's first time away from home, most likely, first time away from home for a long periods of time. So it's not as if they can come back every 2 or 3 days. They're there for weeks and weeks on end, and that could be stressful on an individual that is not used to doing that. Say for instance, some parents say their children get stressed out about even going to away camp, overnight camp and so forth. So I said all that to say this, that it's sad to the point where you have to set up some kind of centers, safe places and centers within these universities for these students that are going through addiction issues. But at the same time, it is very good that this is a problem that the United States sees that needs to be remedied, and it needs to be remedied on each particular campus. So it says the need is real. In 2020, a percentage of people with substance use disorder in the past year was the highest among between 18 to 25 years of age. That is our college group, 18 to 25 years of age, at 24.4% among 8,200,000 people, according to the data of the National Survey of Drug Use and Health. So I say that to say this, that when our young people are going away to school, we really have to be very cognitive of who they are, how prepared they are for going away to school. I would say back in the day, a lot of parents would suggest that their children go to school in the city first and attend a junior college just to see if they were going to be able to stick with it and be able to complete a college career. And they found out that sometimes the discipline that was not in place, sometimes the discipline is not in place for that child or that young person to be able to set goals and reach goals and finish goals. And so the parents at that time, they saw that this might be a waste of my money. Well, it is what it is. But at the same time, them being concerned about their children at the same time, they wanted to be in a place where they were able to support. And you look at a young person that have been basically sheltered all of his life, and in their mindset, they're ready to go to school. They're ready to go off, jump off, go to school, can't wait to leave home, blah, 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 blah. And a lot of times they're not very fully aware of what is involved in that. I'm going to tell this on my daughter, and I know she's going to get back and get me. But when my daughter went off to college that first year, she went off to college. She was still in the state, but she was away from home. And she would call me with all kinds of questions about laundry and this and that and whatever. And I took it upon myself that I really did not prepare her for going away to school. I took it upon myself that I did not prepare her for going away to school. So when we as parents, we have to really look at that child. It sounds exciting, going away, living on campus and blah, 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 and blee, blee, blee. But a lot of times the maturity level of that particular young person may not be in place yet. The maturity level of that young person may not be in place yet. So they have all kinds of issues as far as staying on task, attending classes, getting up. Nobody's there to push the button to tell them it's time to wake up. Nobody's there to fix their breakfast. So the maturity level basically puts them in a place where they really cannot handle it, or they're having difficulties handling it. And so those difficulties can turn them in, cause them to do other things. And some of those things might be substance abuse. We know, let's just be, for years and years and years and years, young people that have gone off to college, the first piece of freedom that they've ever been able to enjoy was being able to drink themselves under the table and do all kinds of things. And then if all of the particular groups that they would get involved in, that's why some colleges have a policy that freshmen cannot, first of all, freshmen have to live within the dorms for so many years, or 2 years, at least a year, before they allow them to go out and get their own apartments and so forth. And this is a way for the colleges to assure parents that we're going to take care of your child. We're going to take care of your child. I have even known of colleges that would not allow freshmen to bring in their own, have their own cars on campus. They wouldn't allow them to have their own cars on campus because they know that was a way for, that was too much freedom for them to be able to come and go and do what they wanted to do. And sometimes they felt if they walked a little bit, they wouldn't do as much. But having cars on campus, so on and so forth. When I took my daughter out for her college orientation back in the 90s, no, in the early 2000s and so forth, a lot of these rules and things were in place. And they wanted, the administrators wanted these college students to be responsible for themselves. So they had like a week-long orientation. I don't know if the orientations are that long now. I'm sure a lot of young people go do orientation online, which I feel is not efficient enough, because to be on that campus, walking those grounds and being able to see people and see where you go and this type of thing, I think that's more of a real experience for a young person. And sometimes once that child gets away, or once that student gets away and goes to that particular campus, sometimes they would basically change their minds and say, Mom, I'm not ready for this. And that's a good thing, because you would prefer that they admit that they're not ready than to go into it and fail, or not be successful. I don't want to say fail, they would not be successful. So we were talking about college campuses with students that have addictions, opiate addictions. I've heard about alcohol, being, high on the campus grounds and things. Well, they're of age now, so they're going to try to do everything they were not allowed to do when they were home. But even though some of them may have did some of those things when they were at home. But now the United States government has set up safe havens in places where these students can get the help they need while they are on campus. Let's just think about some of the reasons why they might, and I'm just my own brain going. Like I said before, the first time away from home, so the pressure is on. The pressure is on. That one adult that you depend on a regular basis to keep you in line, to tell you what to do, when to do it, how to do it, if you do it, is no longer there. You have to depend on your own. You have to be independent as a student on a college campus and say that this is what I have to do. I have to get up in such and such time in the morning. I have to get my breakfast. I have to get my clothes washed. I have to get ready for class, blah, blah. And then once you get in class, you study for class. I had, I just jump all over the place, but I had a student tell me one time, I attended that first class and they gave us an assignment and they didn't even remind us about the assignment. I said, that's high school. That's not college. College, you're considered to be an adult, so you have to take on the responsibility to do what you have to do when you're supposed to do it. It's not, you can't depend on that adult to say, okay, did you do this? Okay, did you do this? Okay, no, that no longer exists. So we're talking about students being stressed out, first time away from home, not being able to handle the pressure that comes from being away from home. And just not knowing how to manage their lives. I've heard that some students don't really learn how to manage themselves in a college career until maybe their junior year. Then they start to get things together. Those first 2 years could be somewhat disastrous. I know of a lot of young people that have basically started out that first year and then took a break and came back home a year and got a little bit more mature, and a little bit more responsible. And then they went back again and, finished up the college coursework and got their degrees. We're talking about students, first time being away from home. The whole college experience can be a lot of pressure on a 17-year-old or an 18-year-old or even a 19-year-old. They have certain amounts of freedoms that they didn't have when they were at home, under their parents' roofs. Now they have certain freedoms that they can do and whatever. And that freedom can take you from 0 to 10 immediately if you're not mature enough and not mature enough to be able to manage your life and how you live on that college campus. And then the second thing I would say that grades, coming down to grades and thinking, where they were the best student in their high school, now you have about 200 or 250 more that are just as smart as you are. That's pressure. That's pressure. And you don't realize that pressure is there until you get to that particular college campus. Another thing, I had made some notes for myself. Depression. Sometimes, they get depressed, and if that's something that they were suffering before they even left home, it does not just automatically stops when a young person goes off to college. It does not stop. So that might be to the point where they're using something, some kind of narcotic or a drug or something to take the edge off. But eventually that can get to the point where it leads you to the edge. It leads you to the edge. Very dangerous situation. And then at the same time, what did I say? Just, you know, I have found and told young people that I have worked with, that when you go off to college, you have to become a leader. You can no longer be a follower. You have to become a leader. You can no longer be a follower, because a leader, being your own leader, will lead you in the direction that you know you're supposed to go in. All of those skills and all of those lessons you were taught while you were at home, you have a tendency of taking that to your college experience also. And so you're not easily led by anybody that's partying 7 days a week, okay, or not staying in, not going to class and doing different things that are not preparing you to get your degree. So you have to be a leader instead of a follower. um, at one time, I sort of was trying to understand why young people would go off to school and then 6 or 7 months they would come back. The pressure of just being away from home, the pressure of just going away to college, and then the ones that have been told, we need you to do this, we need you to do this. That's something to push a child or push a student to the edge where they might start doing drugs and smoking and alcohol, because all of those things are readily available when they get on campus. It's there. It's there. They can easily get involved, easily get caught up, and it's recipe for disaster. It's a recipe for disaster. So this is a very knowledgeable thing to me. This is my first time hearing about it because I didn't know. But at the same time, it sort of makes me very, very, very sad, because when you go off to college, you want that to be a very rewarding experience. You want it to be the one challenge in your life that you were able to do by yourself, which is a good thing, which makes you feel good about who you are and what you're about. But if you are not in the right mindset, I'm talking young people now, and even parents that are getting ready to send their kids off to school. If you notice that your child is not mature enough or not in the right mindset to go off to school, it's nothing wrong with waylaying it and putting it off for a while. It's nothing wrong with putting it off for a while. There's nothing wrong with even allowing that child or that student to go to school in the city for a while, so they can get on let them know what it looks like to be able to gather some rules and regulations for themselves, because when they're away from you, they have to develop something. They have to develop life skills that will keep them going, that will keep them. And if hanging out and taking drugs is not a life skill that you want your child to have, no, not at all. And my daughter, we never did have alcohol at home, but she when she get off to school, that's how she learned how to drink. Well, I'm just glad she just didn't take it to the next level where she got, whatever, and she never, forgive me for this, but that's okay. I know those were the experiences that she was going to experience when she got off, when she went to school. But I had just to have to trust what I had taught her before I put her on that, before I drove her to that particular campus, that she would be responsible enough to take care of herself, because mom was X number of thousand miles away. So I could never reach her. So it worked out. There was a little, she got to the point where she did have to come home, because there were some issues going home, but she turned around and she went right back, which was very successful of her, and which showed me that young people do this. But the more important than anything else, I was there as a support resource for her. I was there to support her about this. So that helped even more. That helped her out more. As long as she said, Mom, I can't do it anymore. Let me come home. I let her come home. We talked about it. I didn't pressure her to go back and everything. She made the decision to go back and had finished, and then she turned around and got another degree. So she did good. She did good. And so as parents, we have to be that resource. We have to be that support system that our young people need. And it's never, ever wrong to give them a good talk before they leave. If they have any kind of anxieties or issues and problems that they want to talk about before they get in that car with all of those bags and boxes and trunks and things, that's where at home is where it needs to take place. This is Aurelia Davis. Drop me a note and let me know what you feel about this. And hopefully be a mentor to somebody that's going off to school. Help them. They're getting ready to do it now. But be a mentor to someone that's going off to school. And the mentoring not only starts before they leave, the mentoring takes place throughout their college years. Be that phone call. If they can't talk to their parents, you be that phone number that they can call, or that person they can call when they're having problems or issues on campus, at school, test scores, failing classes. All of those things take place. We've all been through them. But be that mentor, to your child and somebody else's child at the same time. All of my daughter's friends knew me because I was up there quite often. And it turned out to be very good. And we want any child, any student going off to college for 2022 to 2023 to have a fantastic year. I can't emphasize that enough. This is Aurelia Davis, the educator's educator. Glad to talk to you this afternoon. Hope to see you soon. Take care. If you have any notes, send it over to AureliaDavis.com, and I would be glad to talk to you. Take care. Have a great one.